Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's once again get right to the news.
Okay, we've got a couple of stories for everybody today, as well as our favorite Monday segment. But we'll get started. We're talking about Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie. Will reportedly start filming in early 2023.
Okay.
Right, moving along, possibly.
Sort of, yeah. After being announced almost 3 years ago, yeah.
Don't think about it too hard.
Okay.
Alright, so Taika Waititi's been, of course, popular this week between the release of his new Marvel film, Thor Love and Thunder, and his tongue-in-cheek quotes. Like, joking about not knowing Natalie Portman was in Star Wars.
Hopefully joking.
Or not knowing whether his Star Wars film will be made, which is also likely a joke.
Haha, funny.
It's so funny. The director has found himself in front of the front and center in headlines and across social media. Well, now the Hollywood Reporter is saying plans for Waititi's mystery Star Wars movie is on firmer footing than the filmmaker would have you believe.
So why did he joke?
Because he thinks he's funny. Which is the funniest thing ever.
Him thinking he's funny is the funny part.
Aha!
I get it, yeah.
So, according to Hollywood Reporter, Waititi's Star Wars movie is set already to begin filming early 2023.
But he hasn't even written it yet, according to him.
Not much else is actually known about the film besides that, Schoolhouse Rock-looking logo that Kennedy presented when she announced...
Which I hope is just some kind of filler, please.
It's got to be a placeholder that they just drew up something in his style. I'm like, yeah, here it is.
I don't want this movie. I don't want a Star Wars movie in his style. I know I sound, entitled Thor doesn't want a certain Star Wars movie. But I mean, I just don't know that his style of writing and his style of filmmaking is just a really good... Especially to come back to Star Wars, right? The sequel trilogy was such a...
It's been a while, so this is going to set a precedence in a way.
It was such a point of contention that you would think that what you would want to do with the first Star Wars movie back is... And not that that's what I think I would want to see, per se, but something really kind of safe and, something that you would try to appeal to as many fans as you can to just kind of see, look, this is just going to be... This is like Star Wars, not something like Taika Waititi weird. I don't know.
But that's what they think they're doing.
But they're not. I don't see how Taika Waititi, if it's anything like, Ragnarok or Thor Love and Thunder or some of his other films, it's not gonna have that same Star Wars feel. I don't see how. And I know he's directed, episodes of The Mandalorian, and he did fine. Or an episode. But I don't know. I just don't know about this.
Well, here's what the Hollywood Reporter had to say.
Okay.
Taika's Star Wars project may be coming your way sooner than some of his interviews let on. Multiple sources tell us that the project is eyeing an early 2023 start. God knows plans can shift with Lucasfilm. This is the usual caveat, of course. I mean, honestly,
I don't believe
he's
them,
not the only, he's not the only writer, so we should also keep that in mind.
Well, sure.
Krysty Wilson Cairns is working on it. She's an Oscar-nominated writer. Beyond that, we know that he's planning on expanding the Star Wars beyond what you're familiar with, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I mean, I honestly just don't believe it at this point. I mean, Lucasfilm is just, their track record in the last few years is just terrible with these announcements and people backing out and giving us dates that they don't hit and announcing projects that just never get mentioned again. And and just Taika Waititi's comments just give you kind of the impression that I don't think he really wants to do it.
I never know when he's joking because he always has the same tone. So then I feel like if he says something and then finds out people are mad, he's like, joking, of course.
Well, yeah.
Joking.
Well, I mean, with the whole Natalie Portman thing and kind of forgetting the prequels, like he said that in an interview, which to me kind of implies like you wouldn't bring that up unless you thought it was kind of funny. You wouldn't.
Yes.
If you're making Star Wars, I'd have to imagine you wouldn't openly acknowledge you don't remember Natalie Portman in the prequels. And I think he was just kind of being funny. He forgot them. I hope anyway that he forgot in the moment that she was in them, and he's like, this is going to be a funny story, and no, it's just going to set the fan base afire because that's what any kind of news unfortunately tends to do, unless it's really positive news, which a director and writer forgetting about Natalie Portman in the prequels is not positive news.
What else I kind of thought was funny that he said lately, as I read an article. All right, Stranger Things debuted a song from the 80s as like a primary thing that skyrocketed the song right back up to the top. It was Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. Came out in the 80s. Extremely popular now. It's on the radio again. I'm like, and even the artist herself has been honored by the treatment of her song in there. Taika Waititi has joked that how he says things. He says everything kind of in a jokey fashion, so you never know he's serious. That he doesn't like the new fans liking it. because he liked it back in the old days. And I
He's
read that and I just
gatekeeping.
laughed and laughed and laughed, because isn't that what everyone says Star Wars fans are doing? We're gatekeeping
Yeah.
because we don't want new fans, because new fans change the genre and they don't appreciate it the way.
Yeah, well,
And it just makes me laugh, because that's what he was saying. Oh, I'm a Kate Bush, original Kate Bush fan, and I don't like new people hopping on the train because of a show.
well, yeah. But I mean, it's, when you are a fan of something for 30, 40 years, in the case of a lot of Star Wars fans, like you do
And
get
Kate Bush fans.
I guess the 10 of you that were out there before, the song blew up again. Sorry, I'm sure I don't even remember that song from the 80s, and I am a child of the 80s, so. But I mean, you do get that sense of ownership that comes after decades of knowing it, and then someone else comes in and, they don't appreciate it for what you appreciate it for and for what it has been to you for, again, decades. So you do get, and I'm not defending gatekeeping, don't get me wrong here. I'm just trying to get the mindset, because you do have that sense of like, someone comes in and like, oh, for example, I love the sequels. The sequels are great. They're the best Star Wars films ever. And you're like, well, have you seen the other ones? No, those ones are old and dumb. Like you feel like, well, those old and dumb movies are the reason why you have the sequels that you enjoyed. So just how about a mark of respect for them, even if you don't like them? I think that's a lot of time what gatekeeping is. It's just you don't respect what it was. You just enjoy what it is now, and that it's like in sports, fair weather fans. You jump on the team. When they win the Super Bowl or they win the World Series, all of a sudden you're a Yankees fan. Yeah, I'm a Yankees fan. But where were you when the Yankees? Well, not that the Yankees ever really sucked, but but where were you when they were having their off seasons? Or for Packer fans, we live in Wisconsin. The Packers are huge now because they've been good for almost 3 decades at this point. But I can remember the '80s when they sucked most of the time, and there weren't that many. Not everybody was on the old Packer train until, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers comes around. Now I've always been a Packer fan. Yeah, okay.
Well, and specifically with this song, I mean, back in the 80s, it came out without context. So you kind of created your own reason and how this song made you feel was unique to you. And now all the new fans who are jumping on see it in context of Stranger Things and are taking that meaning and taking it to heart that way. So he's not thrilled.
Yeah, it's because he has a personal attachment to it for what it was to him and what it maybe meant to other people back then. And he's had an appreciation, apparently, his whole life, I guess, more or less. And so when you hear, like I said, when you see somebody else new just kind of jump on like, yeah, this is the greatest thing ever, you're like, well, you don't really appreciate it the way I did. You appreciate it because it was in the show that you enjoyed, not so much the song itself, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, do you think if, out of that context, do you think if it suddenly got started to play on the radio, if Kate Bush's, Run Up That Hill just magically was on the radio, do you think everybody like, oh my God, this is the best song ever? Or is it because it was in Stranger Things?
Stranger Things catapulted it back into
Sure.
the limelight, yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, we can talk more about Taika Waititi.
We can gatekeeping. Maybe
Kate
we
Bush
haven't done a
and,
Weekend Ramble in a couple weeks. This might be a really good topic for it. So
we'll see. We're busy this weekend, too.
we're always busy.
All right, let's move on to our last segment of the day. New this week in Star Wars, etc. On Tuesday, we get the new book, Be More Obi-Wan.
What?
Continuing in the vein of our fun pocket-sized books with inspiration from the galaxy's most cool and composed Jedi Master.
All right.
If you just need to have a little Obi-Wan in your pocket to pull out, and you'll be like, hey...
It's one of the strangest things I've ever heard you say. You want a little Obi-Wan in your pocket?
One of the strangest things
No,
you've heard.
actually, it's
Yeah,
not.
I'm gonna say
No,
it is not.
that doesn't even make the top 100, I don't think.
All right, Wednesday is bringing us some new comics. We've got Mandalorian #1 and Bounty Hunters 25. Mandalorian #1 is, of course, going to start our coverage of the adaptation of Season 1.
Yeah, I wish it was just a different adventure or something. I don't know why we have to do these comic adaptations. And then they'll throw like 2 new lines in there.
And everyone will be like,
whole-
ho-ho!
And then they advertise like, oh, there's extra, stuff in there. It's like, well, he's just said like one other thing that he didn't say
Oh,
in
you'll
the
buy
show.
it.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. But
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to our etc. Miss Marvel is wrapping up Season 1 on Wednesday, and we'll be doing a review on how
The
we
whole
felt the
season,
whole
yeah.
series went. It's going to be exciting, I'm sure. Yep.
Our review or the finale? Because I
I
hope the
hope
finale
one
is
of them is.
exciting. I think if the finale isn't exciting, our review might be exciting. I think that's how that'll work.
We'll see. Then on Thursday, and I know you don't know about this one,
Ooh.
We have
A
the...
surprise to be sure, but will it be a welcome one?
Probably not to you. The new Netflix Resident Evil series drops.
Oh.
I like the Resident Evil franchise, so I figured I'd put out
I
a
like the
reminder that it was
games.
coming.
Some of the movies have been decent. I don't know about anything else attached to it.
Well, the movies got a little wonky.
A little?
Though the first franchise series was. So I'm curious to see how it'll be handled on Netflix. I don't even know how many episodes it is. I just know it's all going to drop on Thursday, and
then you'll
I'll
make
probably
me
start
watch
watching
one.
it.
You'll make me watch one.
No,
and then
you'll watch the first one and you'll be like, I'm good, and I'll end up watching the rest alone.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying.
Why is it annoying? It
Because sometimes I
liberates
want to
you.
watch things with you. It
Yeah.
liberates me. What?
Well, no,
I
because
don't even...
there have been series where you like, I know you want me to watch it with you, and then you'll always be like, well, shoot, you want to watch another episode? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And then you get mad that we don't watch it, and
Well, no, because then it sits on this limbo list. Because you're like, well, maybe...
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you'll be like, maybe... And then I'm stuck.
Because
I'm
I
just
know you
literally
really
stuck.
enjoyed it, and I don't want to hurt your feelings by saying like I thought it was terrible and I don't want to watch anymore. Yeah, I know. Does it make any sense? I don't think so.
No, it doesn't.
But that's how I think. Any more this week in Star Wars? Is that it?
That's... You forgot the etc.
Etc.
No, it's not it. That is it. I'm kidding.
What?
Unless anyone
How
wants to
dare
know
you.
our weekend plans. We're playing some more Flesh and Blood. Woo-hoo!
Yes, card games. That's why we're
Yay.
busy. Yeah, we're not really
we're going
busy.
to a Road to Nationals draft.
Yes.
Woohoo!
You sound like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
No, he sounds different than I do. He's like, woohoo!
Well done. All right. Well, I think that's all we've got for you this time. So now it's your turn to take to the comments below, assuming you made it this far. All right. Well, take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of today's news or what we had to say about today's news. And let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.